What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Popcorn People Podcast. I am your host, Ricky Valero. On today's episode, we have a fun one for you ish. We are going to break down Argylle, which just hit theaters this past week. We're going to talk about our favorite movie, our favorite spy movies, and then break down some of the most recent news in the world of movie and TV. As always, joined by my partner here, Mr. Don Fisher. How are you today, bud?
What's poppin', Colonels? Man, look, it's Black History Month. I'm black, so I like, and my birthday's in February. My wife's birthday's in February. It's all good. Even though our birthdays get a little overshadowed by the heart holiday, we don't really care about that anyway. But that does mean, hopefully, that new tattoos coming soon. I try to get one as a tradition to myself every year. And during the pandemic, that got kind of, messed up. So I'm hoping to cross one of the ones I've been wanting to get for a long time, crossed off my list. And it should be a good time. I love the sound of the tattoo gun, but hate the sound of the dentist needle. Go figure. But yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah, that's me. It's crazy. Like, I love the feeling of getting tattooed.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is. It just feels cool.
It also feels like it's weird, and I know, the numbing cream is really big now, but like something about making it through a tattoo, the process of like the pain, which is like for myself, it's never really been that bad.
Me neither.
I think most tattoo artists that have tattooed me will tell you that I've dozed off or completely fallen asleep if we weren't having a conversation. But yeah, something about it's like a badge of courage. Like, it already is going to look cool. But then the fact that I made it through this thing that people are afraid of or afraid of doing, or they just don't quite get it. It just feels good. It feels great.
It does. I love the way it feels. I'm a huge tattoo guy, so I love the way it feels. And to be honest, the only thing that ever really bothers me is the coloring in sometimes.
When
you go hard into the coloring, it's supposed to get scraping against your skin. Sometimes that's the only thing, but there is a lot of news to break down, and let's go ahead and dive into some movie news. All right, folks, there is a lot of news to break down, and I'm going to share some of the things that went down. Dom's going to give you some thoughts on it as well. Obviously, the big one was Netflix bought WWE for $5 billion to live stream Raw. Massive deal. I think it's a massive thing for the audience. It's going to bring a lot of streamers over, new fans over to Netflix, and maybe some old fans that'll become new fans as well. I love the deal. What about you, Dom?
No, I think this is a fantastic move. We've been talking about like how when it's all said and done, Netflix is going to outlast everybody. They were the innovators of it. And as much as people get mad about them, we always go back to Netflix. And we've been talking about how they've been buying up like fan favorite or like franchises and IP. And, wrestling is growing again. It's getting a second or third or fourth win, whatever you want to call it. And I haven't been able to watch Raw because it's on networks that I don't have, because we just do internet and we do like the antenna for our TV. So if it's not like SmackDown's on, I think it was on Fox, we could watch that. But Raw, we couldn't. So now them doing this makes it easier for me to go back and watch these things. And I do think that this opens up a big door for Netflix to get into the live TV realm. They've done it before with a comedy special, but now like this is going to be they're setting a new precedent. I know Hulu does it a little bit with like sports. Max does it with sports now. Apple TV is doing it with sports, but I think when someone like Netflix has been in this game for so long, because they already have like the gaming stuff too, they're gonna like launch it into the stratosphere, and only bigger and better things can happen to it.
Yeah, I'm excited about it as well, because like with being on the USA Network, it's not even available the following day to watch on any streaming outlet. So even if you have a streaming thing, you can't really watch it. So definitely huge news. Big news in the world of comic books. Millie Alcock is cast as Supergirl. Will make an appearance in the Superman movie on her way to star in her own film, Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. Dom, what do you think of the casting?
Look, she's one of the next up. she's in this new class of actors that is making a splash. And after House of the Dragon, you're like, oh shit, like she's legit. It's a good casting. Now, this is gonna be a role that's very different. I know people that are more familiar with her probably haven't seen her in this kind of thing either. So for me, just seeing her in House of the Dragon, it's like, oh, that's kind of out of left field. And I think I want to say James Gunn also referenced the same thing, like it is out of left field, but after seeing her show and I guess audition, it's like, hey, she is perfect. I'm not mad at it. I don't know much about the character because I usually steer clear of anything Superman-ish because it's always been kind of boring to me. Man of Steel was cool, but anything else, I'm just like, eh. So this is gonna be interesting. It's gonna be and to get somebody who is of a high caliber actress already, but not too big to where it looks like, oh, you just grabbed a big name. I think this could be a good positive for DC.
Yeah, I agree with you because you're talking, I mean, what, 2025 when Superman comes out? I think it's 2026 or something. Supergirl comes out. You're talking about a long-term plan. We're talking about casting young people. We're talking about things that you can build a future off of.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Obviously, we got to see some money come in the door for these movies when they come out, obviously, because DC's got to struggle with that. But I think it's a good casting. I think it's weird casting in some aspects, but that's also to me like I'm not one to jump on and beat the dead horse because of right. somebody that doesn't look the part. Everybody has done that plenty of times in the past, and it has bit them in the ass. But also, in weird news, Chris Rock is set to direct the remake of the Oscar-winning film Another Round. The film from 2022, I think it was. That starred Mads. Yeah. Definitely, it's going to be the English version of it, or the the American version of it, or whatever you want to call it. I don't know how I feel about it.
Yeah,
like in the middle. I don't.
That's a weird one.
Not every foreign movie needs an American remake. It's just it's stuff like that's crazy to me. I don't even know. So
yeah, that's a weird one. Like I wonder. Was it his idea? Was it someone else's idea? And they're like, "Hey, Chris, we want you to do this." I don't know. That one's and it's so, like you said, it's so recent. Do we need go let people fall in love with the original and wait because this is the whole like British Office and then American Office type of situation. I don't know, man. That's weird that it's so close. And I don't want to say it's going to be, it can't measure up, but it's going to be very hard to measure up.
Yeah, very good movie. Very good movie.
So, I don't know.
You're basing it off an Oscar-winning film.
Yeah, that's a weird one.
Yeah. Will Arnett, Jason Bateman, and Sean Hayes are getting $100 million from Sirius XM to move their Smartless podcast over there. Massive deal. Sirius XM, call us. We'll take $1 million. Like that's just go ahead and call us right now. We'll sign the contract today. But massive deal. Good for those guys. I don't listen to too many podcasts. Their podcast is pretty good. They have great chemistry. I watched the documentary style thing they did on HBO Max on the show, and it was really funny. But good for those guys.
Yeah, I mean, I have. There's so many podcasts with celebrities already, and so it's hard to like add a new one. But I have listened to maybe 5 or 6 episodes of theirs, and it is really good. There is this like the camaraderie of like the childhood friendship type of aspect to it, and it keeps it interesting. And I feel like there's always one person who kind of doesn't know what's going on, which makes it more funny. So yeah, that's somebody had to make a move. I mean, Spotify made their move with Rogan's, and then so Sirius was like, "Hey, we can do it too." I just don't know anybody who listens to Sirius XM. But I mean, I know there's a lot because I know Nikki Glazer had a show on there as well. I've never had satellite radio. I'm sure they have an online presence somewhere. I just never looked for it because it was satellite radio. So
Yeah, the big thing for me is like, and it's weird, is the fact that I don't have satellite radio, and I
Yeah,
also like the only time I've ever have it is like whenever I bought a new car and you get like the 60 days or whatever free, and it's like,
right.
all right, cool, I'm gonna cancel it, but I don't. That's a lot of money. Good for those guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
these guys don't have to do anything for the rest of their lives if they don't want. They don't have to act ever again. Just do the podcast.
I know.
You know what I mean? It's
Ain't
pretty
that a
crazy,
bitch?
but
That was
yeah.
already rich.
Yeah, it makes me mad. That's a big thing that the pandemic really screwed up on, was had so many actor and famous people do podcasts that it kind of has
Yeah,
saturated the market for the little people. And I
yeah,
don't think people talk about that enough. I really don't. I don't really feel like people talk about how the pandemic hindered the podcast market for the little people,
yeah,
because everybody had a podcast.
yeah. And it's different when it's a smaller celebrity,
Yeah.
if it's like, I listen to the filmmakers podcast with Giles and Dom, and it's great because they're specifically want the behind the scenes look of how things are made, and it gives us that insight. When we have like these A-list actors who are
Yeah.
like, let's do a
Kevin Hart has a
podcast.
podcast.
Yeah, it's like, damn, bro. Like, I know y'all want your multiple streams of income, but of course, you could go on there and talk about clipping your toenails, and you're gonna get millions of views for the first couple of episodes until people realize that I don't want to listen to that. So it's like it's already a draw, and
Yeah.
there's people who get lucky and break through, like Call Her Daddy, broke through.
Yeah, but even Call Her Daddy has that main
Had
big
Barstool.
platform, had Barstool.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? Barstool, call us. You know what I mean? I know you guys have a movie podcast, but you
Right,
ain't nothing like us. You know what I mean?
right. What's up, Dave?
Somebody call us. You know what
Portnoy,
I
you need,
mean?
you need some more
Yeah.
black people over there, Dave.
Come
What's
on,
up?
Dave. Yeah, you need some more black guys on your team. You know
I know.
what I mean?
We
He's
get.
just gonna
He's
bring
got
the white
some.
dude with him.
There's some Barstool people that work down here, I'm sure. What's up? What's up?
Exactly. How the boys that busting with the boys or whatever it is.
Yeah, yeah.
Taylor Lewan's got a podcast. You know
You
what
got
I mean?
$1 million worth of game. What's up?
Yeah, holla at us. You know what I'm saying? So, final news of the week: Brad Pitt is set to star in Quentin Tarantino's his movie, The Movie Critic. I guess it's going to be the movie film about the critic or whatever it is. It's going to be interesting. Love Brad Pitt. Think he's a great actor. So,
Yeah, I'm always been a Tarantino fan. I mean, for people who don't know, or people who were listening to podcasts I used to do like years back for a couple of years, that was my nickname was had Tarantino in it. So no, I mean this it's gonna be very interesting because I've heard various things about this, and I know when people think of a film critic, a TV critic, I know what they envision, and that exists. It does. But when you see a room full of critics who do this like on a regular basis, it is a very diverse looking. And I use diverse in the appearance department because it's not super diverse racially all the time. But when you look at like the appearance of everybody, it's young, old, in between, tall, short, fat, skinny, bearded, balded, long hair, dreaded. It's everything. It's so the days of you thinking that it's a guy in a hockey jersey, a guy who resembles Kevin Smith. Like I think that's what most people think of. That those days are essentially over, because we're all next to you. We've invaded your movie theaters.
yeah.
We're sitting right next to you when you talk shit about a movie we love, and we bite our tongues because we know it'll get into an hour-long conversation. Okay.
I saw a tweet. I was, making sure our tweet went out to the masses, and it says, legitimately worried Lily Gladstone won't take home the Oscar. I love Poor Things, but what Lily Gladstone did, Killers of the Flower Moon, is too monumental to walk away without a statue. Moving right along, that just irritated me. All right, moving right along. Yeah, let's get even more irritated by talking about the movie review of the week. Let's talk Argylle.
All right, Argylle. A reclusive author, Ellie Conway, writes best-selling espionage novels about a secret agent named Argylle who's on a mission to unravel a global spy syndicate. However, when the plots of her books start to mirror the covert actions of real-life a real life spy organization, the line between fiction and reality begin to blur. All right. Directed by Matthew Vaughn. You've seen the cast is pretty big. You know, we have our Bryce Dallas Howard. We have our what is Sam's last name?
Sorry, hang on. Sam Rockwell,
Henry Cavill, John Cena, Dua Lipa. We have a lot of people throughout this this bigger budget spy thriller comedy thing. But you know, I'll let you divulge your thoughts first.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys. AirPod went dead mid Dom talking there, but you did say that Dua Lipa's in the movie, but that is actually incorrect. Maybe for 5 seconds.
Yeah.
First off, this movie, I know this is a famous thing to say nowadays. This movie is a money laundering scam because there's apparently a $200 million budget for this movie. I'd like to see where it went because it did not go into the movie. Look, I talked about this before. I didn't have very much expectations for this movie. I'm not a fan of the Kingsman franchise. I don't think they're good movies. I thought I don't remember which one I really thought was okay, but I feel like the original one I did not like. The second one I thought maybe was a little bit better. The third one I thought really stunk. To me, I'm just not a fan of those type of movies, and that's very in the similar vein of this movie. Like I love early Matthew Vaughn. What is it? Kick-Ass he did. And there was another one, First Class he did, which was fantastic. But this was your prototypical over-bloated action quote unquote blockbuster movie that just never really landed. Like the movie starts kind of interesting. And it kind of leans into this outlandish film, right? It leans very heavily. You have this chase scene where you see Henry Cavill driving this car down this weird thing, looking Fast and the Furious style, right? And then it kind of just goes deep into this despair. I feel like this kind of reminded me a little bit tonal-wise of The Lost City, had some of the similar beats to it while there is a few twists and turns that aren't match. But The Lost City was a lot of fun. It was kind of stupid, but that's what made it fun. This film kind of refused to really lean into that stupidness that I really feel like made The Lost City a lot of fun. Vaughn's known for his star-studded cast. I mean, Henry Cavill, Bryce Dallas Howard, Sam Rockwell, Ariana DeBose, John Cena, as Dom mentioned. But the only thing that really worked for me was Sam Rockwell. Like, he was the movie. I really enjoyed him in this movie. I thought he was fantastic. I really liked, even in her small time, Dua Lipa's role. I felt like she had a certain presence about her that really was intriguing. And I feel like I wish we would have gotten to explore her character a little bit more. And I know this might be controversial. I really feel like she could have done the whole Bryce Dallas Howard role probably better. I guess you could say, like, it was just fun. Nothing against Bryce Dallas Howard. She was fine in it. There's the third act. There's a scene. There's a fight sequence that is one of the most ridiculous. You have this colored fog in the air that leads to a dance shooting sequence that it's one of the worst action sequences I've ever seen in my life. Like, it legitimately, like, it blows my mind that people sat down, watched this, and were like, that's cool. It didn't do it for me. Like, it only got progressively worse after each and every sequence. The movie clocked in 2:15, 30 minutes too long. Easy. You trim 30 off of this easily. I don't know if it makes it any better, to be honest with you. That's crazy because there are elements that might work within the story. It does. I don't hate the twist. I don't. I like I like Catherine O'Hara. I thought she's fine. Bryan Cranston. I do like the little twist within that story with their characters, with Bryce Dallas Howard. I think there's elements here. I think if you could even make this a more saturated, lower budget spy movie, and it's actually a lot better than what you have.
Yeah.
Or you lean heavy into a comedy, and it could be fun as well. But instead, there's just it's one of the worst third acts I've seen in like recent time. It's so bad. And it's crazy because there's actually a scene in the third act that's actually kind of cool how they utilize it with Catherine O'Hara's character controlling Bryce Dallas Howard's character. It's cool, but like you're so checked out, you just don't give a fuck anymore. Like that to me is really a problem. This was bad. Like this was really, 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 really bad, and I hated it. Like I hate, and it's crazy. We saw it with an audience, and the audience ate up a lot of the crazy scenes. And I thought for sure that it was going to be a hit with the crowd, and it got like a C+ cinema score. And Dom and I talk about this all the time. Like Dom and I have a pretty similar taste in most movies. I'd say like 8 out of 10 movies we really agree on across the board. And we thought for sure, I thought for sure that audiences were going to eat this up, and they didn't, which didn't surprise me. And I really feel like the people out there that really like this movie, especially on the critic side of things, are just trying to be different at this point. You know what I mean? And that's your thing. Like that's probably your shtick, and I get it. But for me, like nothing about Argylle is really. I'll never watch this movie again, nor will I remember it. I'll forget in December that this movie came out. If this doesn't, honestly, this is a front runner for the Razzies. First front runner for the Razzies of 2024 is Argylle. I'm done with my rant now. The floor is all yours, Dom.
So when we go to these screenings, oftentimes we're provided with a +1. So if it's not my wife, because our schedules conflict about when she gets off, when the movie starts, I'm usually by myself. But every once in a while, I will invite like my uncle or a friend. And this is the second time I've invited somebody, and the movie was terrible. The first one was with my uncle. We went to see me, my uncle, and Ricky were all squished together watching Black Phone. Not all three of us didn't like the movie. And then Argylle, my buddies in town, haven't seen him since high school, and I'm like, hey man, I got a +1. He happens to be a critic as well, and immediately we all kind of look at each other like, what the hell did we just watch? The big thing for me, and it's the thing that I think I repeated multiple times in real life and in my review, if it leaned one way, as Ricky said, if it leaned away, it would have been fine. You lean into a like a super spy espionage story with a little bit of humor, works perfectly. Or you go full Harley Quinn meets The Mask meets Deadpool, and it also works. But to give us fiction and then to reality, and the reality, the what's going on, it's supposed to seem very plausible, very possible that this can happen. To get to this fucking skate scene, that's all I'm gonna say about it. It's the skate scene. It pissed me off. Like I was like, the smoke didn't bother me as much because I know that was supposed to be his stylistic thing. It was completely out of pocket, but I was like, that's supposed to be his stylistic thing that he wants to put in there. But the skate scene made me so mad because the movie is very logical in through the majority of the film, and then this part, I want to spoil it for you because I want to explain why this shit made me mad, but like I'm not going to. But like, just it makes me mad. It's infuriating, and I'm sure it's going to be talked about. If nothing else, this movie is going to have 2 scenes that get talked about throughout the year: the smoke scene and the skate scene, and they don't go, and that's a problem. The stuff doesn't fit. There's 1 or 2, I say 2, too many twists. The first one's cool. The rest of it's like unnecessary. And there's this dance. I can't remember the name of the dance, but it's essentially like you trying to like smell somebody's crotch and lift him up in the air and spin around. I don't know what that was. It didn't get explained what that was supposed to be. And I understand parts of the film were supposed to be exaggerated aspects of spy films, but it didn't feel like you were trying to exaggerate. It just felt like you wanted to make a spy film, but you weren't confident enough to go all the way. And then you get this, like Corey Matthews says, a goubois, because I don't know what the hell that was. I really don't. And it's one of those films where you try to make excuses on why certain things happen. They're like, oh man, this could have been, and then my favorite part of the night was, we hear somebody say, I mean, it's fun, and my buddy was like, that ain't good enough. Dude, we got to stop doing that, and I respect that because we can't always say the movie wasn't great, but it was fun, and it's like we can tell when a movie wants to be fun, and when a $200 million movie fucked up, and this one they dropped the ball. And I'm like, I enjoyed the first Kingsman. The other two I didn't really care for too much, and there's mainly like the first one is more the conceptual, the phone chips and trying to take over the world, like population control. That was all cool. And then the ending, the mid credits or scene, I don't know what the hell that was. Like I was in my head like punching at the air because I was like, what? Like I don't contrary to popular belief, we don't like talking bad about films. We want them all to be great. We try to find the good in them, but sometimes they're just bad. And if your kid does something bad, you have to explain to them what they did wrong in order for them to get better. And I think critics and fans alike are letting Matthew Vaughn know, nah, this ain't it. And like Ricky said, the first thing I noticed was it was almost exactly like The Lost City in the beginning. I mean, scene for scene. I mean, the contents are different, but the concept is exactly the same. And I'm like, did he like watch that movie and was like taking it? Yeah. And that's cool. If you're trying to pay homage, cool. But that wasn't really a spy movie per se. So I don't know, man. I even when we posted my review on Geek Vibes, right? It's posted on Twitter. I titled it Insanely Absurd from Start to Finish. A guy comments like, so it's just bad? And I was like, I was trying to be nice, bro. Yeah, it's not great. It's not. It's just not great. And of course, we always say go see it for yourself, but I really would rather you not waste your money, honestly. And it's not even like a joke. I'm not trying to be funny. Like, I really don't want you to waste your money unless it's on like that weird Tuesday where movies are like half price and you just have literally nothing to do. Other than that, it'll be on Apple Plus TV at some point. I think it was Apple Films original. So just wait. It's okay. Because it's almost like there was too many chefs in the kitchen, or there was too much interference with there being so much of a big budget. You got people essentially, executives maybe coming in saying, I want this, and then you lose whatever creative control you had, and then you're like, fuck, I just got to put out what I can put out. But yeah, like Ricky said, it's way too long. You should a comedy shouldn't be almost 2.5 hours long. It should not. And yeah, Sam Rockwell, fantastic. If he dances in every movie for the rest of his career, I'm happy about it. I like Bryce. Bryce is like, she kind of, okay, I liked her character at the beginning. She's like cute and like, I'm scared. And then eventually, again, I don't want to spoil anything, but eventually she becomes like unbelievable. Like almost like, I don't know. I don't believe that. Dua Lipa,
and I think that's what made like Sandra Bullock fun, because she was like more naive to everything, and she doesn't have the same like history as Howard's character did. But Yeah.
And there was a comment I saw, and they're 100% correct. It's not even been a comment. It might be on Letterboxd. I'm upset that John Cena and Henry Cavill didn't kiss. Yeah, 100% should have happened. I was mad when I saw. I was like, wait, that didn't. It was supposed to happen. It should have happened because of mirroring that was going on. And yeah, it's disappointing that you didn't do that. Because that would have gone viral, and at least you would have had people going just for that. Like,
right, you would have had a moment for people, Peacemaker and Superman make out in a movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then you would have had then you would have the Daily Wire talking about it for 6 months.
Right.
But yeah, so I mean, kind of is what it is. Definitely should have dropped in January, to be honest with you. But
yeah.
Before we go, let's hit some little watch recommendations. So I recently jumped into, and I think I can talk about it. I think the embargo is up for season 2. I think it was yesterday. It doesn't come out until the 8th, I believe. But Tokyo Vice season 2 comes out this week on Max. I like it. It's a pretty good drama thriller-ish. It's based on a journalist over in Japan. Kind of gets into the mix of the Japanese gangs over there. Really, really enjoying it. Really like the different dynamics and the layers of the story. Really been kind of digging that. It's crazy because like I'm watching a lot of stuff right now that I can't really talk about. Like that's all my time is consumed right now is watching things that I like that are coming out that I can't really like say that are great or not great. So yeah, so like that's the only thing I can really say that I'm watching several different things. So but what about you, Dom?
I will say I watched this, I guess when it had came out, but it is on Netflix now. I encourage everybody. I think I've said before, but go watch Dumb Money. Dumb Money's good. It's cool.
Dog, that movie is dog shit.
You didn't like it?
Fucking hate it.
Oh, I love like the fucking unhinged like shit and just the fact that it's all based off recent history.
Yeah,
like I kind of liked how the little.
I just watched it for the first time.
I liked how it played
like
out
2 weeks ago.
Yeah, man, I fuck with it.
See, remember earlier when I said 8 out of 10 movies we agree on? Dumb Money. Like, hang on one second. While we're here, no, because it's funny you say that because I literally watched this very, very recently.
And it could be, Paul Dano's character is a very cringe character, but that's how the guy presented himself on YouTube.
I watched it on my birthday, I guess.
Okay.
I missed this last year. I wished I missed it this year. This was very bad and sad. Bad and sad since it's got a loaded cast. Pete Davidson's innocent. 1.5 stars. That was my review.
But I think you may have watched this film this week. I just watched it this morning. Scrambled.
Yes.
Just came out this past Friday, the 2nd. It is a great movie.
Dude, it's so good.
This is her directorial debut. Yeah, Liam Kendrick. And this movie, I feel like more than other films of the sort, actually sees the women, the generation that it's portraying. Not only because I think that I thought, look at her Instagram, I think she actually was going through some of these things that she.
Oh yeah, I interviewed. That's 100. She this entire movie's inspired by her life.
Yeah, and you can tell like there's like so much like raw emotion and like and especially when something's so dark and you try to laugh your way through it. That's what I feel like the whole movie is like I'm trying to make some like light or levity of this horrible situation, and it encompasses like I feel like so many like millennials, whether and I feel like it is a very it's a very niche topic. It's only women can will fully relate to this. She's she essentially women are told when they go to the doctor that, hey, you're in your 30s. If you get pregnant, it's a geriatric pregnancy. It might not happen. And so it's almost like this weird like push for them to have kids before they're 30. But you don't, some people don't want that. Some people don't, they want to enjoy their life. They want to go be free and not have to be tied down to anything. And then, of course, at some point in your life, your friend group, everybody starts pairing off, getting married, having kids. And even if you're not one that wants to do it, there's that pressure because everybody around you is doing it. So it's like, it must be some kind of good if everybody's doing it. But like, I want to be Stifler for the next, 10 years. And seeing the things that she has to go through in this film and things that like I had heard, but it's one thing to see it play out. It's really good. Like honestly, it's one of those ones where you watch and there's like literally nothing I don't think she could do different to make it better than it already is. It's funny. It's got heart. And of course it has this like, it has this little like kind of Scott Pilgrim-esque vibe at a sense, going through exes and whatnot. Like it's a really great film. I really enjoyed it. I don't think that there's not like a big budget or anything for marketing. So this is one where it relies on us to let everybody know, see this film. I don't know how wide it is, but it is in theaters. I don't know how long it's going to be in theaters, but look for it. Scrambled. And it's got a lot of comedians. You're going to recognize half the cast. You have, I think her name, I think it's pronounced as Ego from SNL. You have Andrew Santino. I don't remember the dad's real name, but you've seen him in a lot of things. It's definitely worth a watch. And then this is one where you go, maybe I need to be nicer to the women in my life because it is hard. Like, and she explains certain things. You're like, yeah, you know what? You are 100% correct. So yeah.
Yeah, it's a great movie. I not to cheap plug here for anybody watching or listening. I did interview Leah McKendrick about the movie, and we had a great chat. Listening to her talk about how she got this made right before the pandemic. She had written a movie that was 100% like greenlit, was going to get made, big franchise, big budget, big money coming her way, and then it just got shut down because of the pandemic. And she said she kind of got tired of writing things for other people. And during the pandemic, she sat down, she basically put herself in a house and she took notes as she was going through the process in real time. And then she sat in her house and for like a month wrote the script and started going at it. And she's like, she wrote, she directed it, starred in it, produced it. It's funny. There's a scene in the movie, which is one of my favorite scenes of the movie is it's the changes montage.
Oh yeah.
And
yeah.
she talked in my interview with her, and I asked her about like the montage and like that rendition. First off, the rendition is beautiful, like it really is. But I had asked her about it. She said that when she filmed it, they had shot the entire movie. She had already lip synced and everything, and they still didn't have approval for the song from Black Sabbath. And they had called, they'd emailed, they'd done everything over and over again, got shut down at every turn. They said they made one last ditch effort, and she reached out to Sharon Osbourne. Went out to Sharon Osbourne. She showed her the movie. She watched the movie and gave her approval to use the song on the movie, which is cool as shit.
That's hard, yeah.
But she said it was like one of the hardest. She said that was the single hardest thing to get made about the movie because she's like, everybody's like, look, you're gonna have to like go back and cut this. Like you can't use this song. Like you literally only shot this for the. She's like, it's too pivotal for the movie, and I agree. Like with that, not to say it wouldn't have been a bad movie without that scene, but that scene's very pivotal in the back half of that film. It's a great film. One that most people won't see probably, but need to see. Yeah. Especially men. Like men should really watch that movie. Like I understand it's not made for quote unquote men, but like you should really watch it.
Especially if you, if you're a father, if you're a brother, if you are dating dating a woman of any age. Like this is part of the thought process is that all the things that could happen, potentially have happened that a lot of women they're not going to tell you unless you've been holding their hand throughout a certain process. They're not telling you these kind of things that are going on because it's too painful to talk about, and it's something that they want to guard because it's vulnerable and it makes them feel like what's wrong with me. So yeah, it's definitely one that I think I've had a similar conversation with a actor or actress director Kirsty Bryant, because she had a short film that was very similar in content, very different in execution, but yeah, these are things that happen to women every day, and it sucks, especially seeing like, fuck, dude, like that's hard. Societal pressures, peer pressure, and then the doctor essentially saying like, hey, hurry the fuck up or don't do it at all. Like, that's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah, fantastic movie. If you get an opportunity to watch it, it'll probably be on digital, if not already on demand. It might be already on demand. I think you can actually get it on demand already. If that's the case, go ahead and throw a rent out there for it. You know what I mean? Like, spend the extra money. I was going to see real quick if you can. I think you can rent this thing online, but I don't know. Like I said, it's in theaters. If you get a chance to support independent filmmaking, I mean, go see this instead of go see this instead of Argylle. Go support Anna Kendrick. I really feel like she's got an eye for like great filmmaking. I can't wait to see what's next for her too. I think
and the song selection, like you were talking about with Changes. There's another one. I don't remember the song name, but it's like as she's talking to these guys, and then it's like, I don't need no man. I was like, that's fucking perfect.
Yeah, exactly. And that's it. Exactly. There's a lot of different elements and things that I really enjoyed that I think that we could really, again, like give this woman a blank check and let her write something cool and unique. Oh, sorry, I'll sneeze. All right, that's it for this episode of the Popcorn People Podcast. Next week, folk, we will be preemptive because of the Super Bowl. Next week's episode is a fun one, though. We just got done recording a few minutes ago. We are breaking down a draft of the Knives Out casting for season 3, or not season 3, movie 3. Knives Out 3 is coming soon. They said that they're going to start filming on it. I would assume it's probably a 2025 release, but Dom and I have a little fun draft, drafting an entire cast of the movie. Looking forward to that. But thank you guys so much for listening to another episode of the Popcorn People Podcast. We will talk to you guys next week.